Hello, hello, and welcome to Show Me Your Soul. I cannot be more excited to reactivate this show and I have the honor and the pleasure to have Josephine Amesho right here with me. Josephine is someone I met through the power of Instagram. She lives in Namibia, Africa, and I live in Miami. So the fact that we can connect and we can create magic together, to me, it's magical. Welcome to Show Me Your Soul. How are you, Dr. Josephine Amesho?
Hello, Miriam. Thank you so much for having me on your show, Show Me a Soul. It's such a pleasure to be here. Like you said, we did meet on social media. You know, the power of social media these days. And I'm so grateful to have met you, actually. And, we've been speaking for a minute that we will start this podcast. I mean, I'll come onto your show. And I'm so grateful to be here as well. Thank you for giving me the platform.
No, I'm grateful that, like that we got in contact and of the podcast, we've been, like getting to know one another, getting to know what we do. So I just want you to present yourself and tell everyone what exactly you do, because I think you do such a powerful thing with people to feel better about themselves, right?
Yeah, well, thank you, Miriam, again. Well, I am Josephine. I am a medical doctor. I work as a medical doctor, but also I think more so my interest is not just on the physical. I'm also interested in consciousness, you know, what life is all about and how we can change our lives, how to use the wisdom that we have to change our lives. So that's mainly my other focus, or is it mainly my primary focus? I don't know. I focus on both the same way. So really, I just try to help people see the light, if you understand what I mean, because it's a lot of times we are not always exposed to. Sometimes we're not exposed to information, and sometimes you just need that lending hand. You just need to read something positive from somebody, and maybe that just changes your day. You never know.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And I believe that you blended a physical aspect with a consciousness aspect, which is extremely powerful. And you and me both know this firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've been doing a lot of internal transformation, which is showing on the outside. You know what I mean? Like all
Yeah.
the work that I've been doing to my consciousness and understanding life and trying to see life from a different lens. Now
Yes.
all the energetic weight that I've been removing, it's showing on my body also. And I think you are doing that with your patients as well, because all we can do is show our light, right? All we can do is shine our light. And
True.
whoever's ready to see it, it's going to see it. And whoever's not, it's not. And this is what people, like they get scared when they hear spiritual awakening, which is like a word that is being thrown around now a
Mm,
lot, right? And I believe it's an awakening of consciousness. And consciousness is understanding that we need to be present, living in the present moment.
true. So yes, I mean, with like what you mentioned with the energetic weight, that you energetic weight that you dropped, and now you see the results on the outside as well. And that's all. That's also what I always tell my patients when they come in for consultation, and they're like, "Hello, doctor, please, could you assist me to lose some weight?" So I mean, I always agree with them, and I tell them, but also before we go to the physical, we need to start with the inside. We need to get your mindset to that of somebody who has the weight that you desire. I mean, that's how you achieve something that you want, right? By feeling yourself to be the person that has the thing that you want. I mean, at the end of the day, like you and I both know it, Miriam, you can only get, you can only have what you already have. Do you understand? So if you're in that consciousness of somebody who has lost that weight, it's going to be much easier for you to lose weight as opposed to just trying with your willpower. Like they say, you can't change an effect with an effect. So I try to go beyond the physical, and I try to make my patients understand that yes, you can lose the weight, yes, but what if the weight comes back? In order for you to maintain that type of weight that you have, that you'd like to have, you then need to be the person that has lost the weight that you have right now. You understand? And it's a little bit maybe complex. It's not that complex actually. It's
No,
quite
no, no.
simple.
You need to understand to appreciate what you said is appreciate what you have in order to
Yes,
desire what you want, correct?
yes,
If
exactly.
I
So
if I cannot appreciate right now the way, I don't know, let's say my pooch looks like the pouch over because I had three girls
yeah,
and I had a C-section, and let's say, oh, I've been thinking about it, like, oh, I'm gonna do the mommy makeover. Okay, I'll
mm,
do the mommy makeover, but I've been dealing with overweight my whole life. And if I don't get to the root problem, I can do liposuction, I can do injections, I can do whatever it is. But
yeah,
if I don't get to the root problem, that's why people that get the the bypass, the gastric
yeah. Gastric
surgery,
bypass. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they
And then
always
after some
come back
time,
because we're not attacking the root,
yes,
right? And
exactly,
sometimes the root it's
exactly.
much deeper than we think. Me as a family constellator, I wanted to understand where is this root of the overweight coming from, you know?
Yeah.
And
Mm.
I went to my professor, the one that taught me how to be a family constellator, and I told him, I need you to do a family constellations because I feel like I'm stuck. No matter what I do,
Yeah.
I'm a Pilates instructor. I walk 14,000 steps a day. I do whatever it is that I have to be doing. I meditate, I do yoga, and I still feel a lot of resistance towards losing the weight. So
Yes.
he did the constellation on me, and it ended up being that since a very young age, I wanted my mom to show me love in a different way that she was showing me. I'm not saying that she never loved me. I grew up with a very protective and motherly mom, but I was not getting the love that I was expecting to receive. So I replaced my mom's love with the food, right? So for me, the weight and holding on to the weight, it's not just, you know, like a whatever thing. For me, it's like a primal thing, like a mother's love type of thing. So
Mm.
if I
It's
don't
like
work on that,
it's like a
there's
void
no way I'm
because
gonna ever lose it.
yeah, it's like you keep trying to fill that void. No,
Exactly.
I totally understand you. So, in order for you to actually lose the weight, you need to deal with the root problem, which is like what you said, where the root cause of the problem is. And you said you found out that it has to do, thankfully, you found out because a lot of times people actually don't know what the root problem is. Excuse me. And then they try to solve their problems with what they think it is. Do you understand? But sometimes things are not always as they appear to be. That's why in order for you to actually change something, you need to be on a journey of being, conscious, like you call it, being present in the present moment, and also realizing that life is much bigger than we are, and I think everything starts with the conscious awakening, is if I would call it that. That's where everything starts. I
And
think in order.
for you, when was that turning point? When did you realize that you were like, okay, I need to change something because I need a change in my life? Because that's what consciousness is, right? That's what awakening is. Like you're like, okay, this is not working out anymore, and it
Something
seems
needs
so
to
much
give here.
bigger.
No, I think for me, you know what, Miriam, reflecting on my life, I think I've had many nudges where, it was a nudge like wake up, but I think I've had quite a few nudges where I had to wake up, but I didn't realize that I had to, so obviously I didn't. So I think for me the final nudge was when, it's just my life was just, I don't know, everything was going opposite the way I planned it to go. And I think I was at my lowest, really. I was at the bottom of the bottoms. And it was in that moment I thought to myself, I was like, I mean, come on, like something's gotta give, like something's gotta give. And I remember that day I was in my then apartment before I moved to this new place here. I was on my knees and I was like, I was praying. I was like, Lord, like you gotta show me a way out of here. You understand? And in that moment, you know that what they reference in the Bible as a still small voice. I think that still small voice led me to this book, and I read this book of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. And it was in that time when I was reading all these things and I was trying to realize that, oh my goodness, I have been living life opposite of, like, I don't know, I haven't been living even, because I think I was just on
Mhm.
autopilot the whole time. And for me, that was my aha moment. I was like, wow, so you can literally change your life by changing your mind. And then that's when it began for me. I think that was some 2 years back. Yes, that's when I started this journey, and it's been amazing since then.
And it's a journey within, right? The only way is to drive inside and start observing yourself in a way, right? Observing
Mm.
the patterns, observing your thoughts, observing the things that you're saying to yourself. Because, like you
Yeah,
said, we live so much in autopilot that we don't even realize that when you look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, oh, look at that stretch mark. Oh, your hair looks ridiculous today. And we think this is a normal voice, but it's
imagine.
not, right?
It's not normal. It isn't. No, seriously. And and I was also that kind of person. I was. I think majority of my mind was primarily negative, but I don't know. I thank the Lord. I've woken up, and also I don't know how I was able to still build everything that I did, considering I was living like that. You understand? Do you understand what I mean? So for me, it's really just like, wow, it's something. It's like a mystical experience for me, if I should say. Do you understand? And then you realize that, oh my goodness, so you shouldn't be speaking negatively against yourself. You shouldn't be believing negative things about yourself. And just because people told you to be this person doesn't mean that's who you are. It all starts from within. Whatever you believe is what you're going to get. So if you're in the mirror, I like the fact that you actually mentioned the mirror. The mirror will not do anything unless you do something. When you smile, the mirror smiles back at you. When you frown, the mirror smiles back at you. So if you're giving yourself, negative words, saying negative kinds of things about yourself, you don't believe in yourself, you're only gonna get more of that. That's why it's
One
important to break
one
that.
hundred percent, 100%. And now that you brought up again the mirror, yesterday actually I was watching Snow White, the new Snow White, with my daughters. And at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the movie, the witch goes to the mirror and breaks the mirror, right? Because she asked the mirror who's the first of them all, and the mirror replied to her, Snow White, because like she's powerful from within or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
the witch got so mad that she broke the mirror and she started disappearing. And for my daughter, my 8-year-old daughter, turned around and she goes, "Mommy, the mirror was her mind. She was telling herself that she was the first of them all. And then when she saw that everyone loved Snow White because the whole kingdom, white, like they wanted Snow White,
Mm-hmm.
she she couldn't take the thought of her not being that, right? And when she turned around to me and she said, "Mommy, the reason she died was because she was her own mirror," I was like, "Holy moly, you're so right,"
How did
you
you
know?
question it? Yeah, no, that's really true, because and that goes back to say that, and this is on another level, to say that there are no others apart from you. Whatever you do to the other person, whatever you do, that can come back to you. But I mean, that's on a very esoteric level of understanding, so to speak. But like your daughter put it, the mirror was her. So I think all of us should just strive to, first of all, to speak positively always about yourself, because listen, you spend the most time with yourself, and you want to make sure that whatever you're saying about yourself is positive, and is building you. Because at the end of the day, whatever you say is something that you're thinking of, and also we all know that whatever you think is what you experience in your life.
Become, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, as a man thinketh, so you see. So we really have to be careful. And like you mentioned, it's so people have normalized, all these strange things. So people even make jokes. I don't even make negative jokes about myself anymore since I've become conscious. Not even as a joke. I do not make negative jokes, because we all know the mind doesn't think it's a joke. It just thinks it is what it is. So we really have to be conscious and be in the present moment. Observe your thoughts, observe your environment. I try really to just, I don't think it's even trying now, because I feel like it's become my second nature. Like, just trying to keep my mindset on a good on a good vibe. Trying to keep my
And
mindset.
gratitude, right? Gratitude.
Yeah,
Gratitude
gratitude.
for
Yeah,
me has
gratitude very
changed
important.
everything. Like
Yeah.
the fact that I can look at myself in the mirror and thank the overweight and thank the stretch marks and thank the things that I probably didn't love about myself before. And I have found self love there, which is self love is everything, right? Because when we love ourselves, we can love ourselves enough to change, right?
True. True, true, true. Yeah, self love is actually the first thing, why do you say self concept? Because when you see yourself in you have to be able to love every version of you, because at the end of the day, even the version of you that has the overweight is still a child of God. You understand? You're still one with consciousness, nonetheless. So that's where it begins. Because how do they say the light enters through the wound. So, well, the wound, it doesn't have to be a literal wound. I mean, if you feel like overweight is something that disturbs you, you actually have to face it. Look at it in the face and say, okay, here's the overweight. I acknowledge it's here, but now it's time to release it. You have to work through it. You can't walk around it, unfortunately. And it starts like with what you said, being grateful for what you already have. Because if you're grateful for the smallest, then obviously you can be trusted with more. What is the smallest in this case? Your current weight. That's who you are. You start there, you acknowledge yourself, and then from there you move forward. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's how you do it.
Yeah, and to stop thinking that consciousness is all peace and love, right? Because everyone's like, "Oh, you became such a hippie after you became into consciousness." I'm like, "Bro, the reason I'm here is because I had to face the darkest things that I had to face, you know?
It's
And
true.
and for me to understand that there is light, I had to face the darkness. And for me
Mm,
to understand that the darkness now is my strength more than my wound,
mm.
it's when you catalyzed, right? When you really become an alchemist and you
Yes.
turn that pain into a strength and
Power.
that weakness or that wound into a superpower.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, we have to remember that nothing belongs to us. It's just an experience. So if you're experiencing something, it's there to teach you something. I mean, I used to think, I don't know, I read the Bible, and I'm not religious, but I read the Bible because it's a book of wisdom. And in the Bible, somewhere it says, resist not evil. If I'm not mistaken, resist not evil means what? Don't try to avoid the darkness. You have to go to the darkness in order for you to see that there was light. And just like you said now, Miriam, it was the darkest places that you found the light. And people think, yeah, people I think people, probably my friends, probably think I'm a hippie also, because you cannot be the same anymore. Once you see the light, you cannot unsee the light. Once you see the light, you cannot unsee it. It's just going to be there all the time. So, and obviously, once you make the changes from within, your environment is bound to change. So everything about you changes. You also change. You become a hippie to your people or to your friends. But those are the workings of spirit or source, if you may call it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about holding up our mirror, right? And the more that we can clear our mirror, the clear reflections we can see of others. And that's why when you start getting into this path of out observing yourself and turning the mirror inward and you start cleaning your mirror, when you are facing your mirror out and you see people, you start saying, oh, there's a lot of people that I've been hanging out with, people that think like me now, that talk like me, that act like me. And the reason is because you're holding up a mirror and you are learning to clean that mirror constantly. And the more that you can clear that mirror, the clearer the reflection of other people is going to become. Because when we understand consciousness, we understand that we are all reflecting one another, that
Exactly. Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
mirror.
You only like you can only see what you are. Really. So once that's why when you get to a certain level of understanding, to put it in a practical term, you will see that those kind of people gravitate towards you. Just imagine now I found you. I bet I would never have found you if we had never, been on the consciousness path. But because we
No,
were there,
100%. We wouldn't.
yeah. So you had the same mirror, I had the same mirror up, and somehow we found each other. So really, it's just about cleaning your own mirror first. There's no one to change but you. Yeah,
And it's
because once
only
you
about
change,
clearing your mirror. It's only about clearing your mirror because For example, now I'm putting a lot of energy into creating a course for parents to get to know themselves in order to be more conscious parents, right? Because people hear conscious parenting and they think it's like hippie again. And it's like, oh, you talk to your child very soft and there's no boundaries. And that's
Mm,
not the truth. For me, conscious parenting is knowing yourself so deep to understand that whatever they're reflecting back to you is what you need to be working on, not them. You know,
mm,
when you get frustrated at your kid, it's not about your kid, it's about you,
who you are.
because they're
Mm,
little sponges. They literally reflect back to you everything. So I always say I'm reparenting myself through parenting my kids, and I'm parenting my kids through reparenting myself. And to
mm,
do that, you have to remove the ego. You have to remove the, oh, I'm your mom and you respect me. No, get down to their level and show them why they should respect you. Become, you know, like the more that you show them that life is an experience and that we should be enjoying this experience, and you remove the, you know, like the being ashamed or whatever. Like for me, I even become, I call it mama sword, which is I become like this dinosaur mom that starts chasing them and kissing them and tickling them. But I do it because they need to see that I don't care about embarrassing myself in front of them. You know, I literally put my
mm.
hands back like if I was like a dinosaur, and I start making the noises and I start chasing them. And for them, it's a realization like my
Yeah.
mom is, they already have you as a superhero,
Hmm.
you know? And when
So
you're able to show them that you cry, that you get upset, that you get down to a level of immatureness, or however you want to call it,
yeah,
to show them that you are also, you know, like approachable. I don't
yeah.
know if you, and that's the same if you translate it into people, right?
Yeah, because I mean, the people reflect back to you what you are actually. If something triggers you, then you need to work on whatever it is that is triggering you. Like you said, if your child frustrates you, it's not necessarily about the child, but it's about you. Like what's going on? Because at the end of the day, this, like you mentioned before, you are the superhero to this little human being, you know. And once you notice something, then like you said again, if your child triggers you, it means it's you should work on that, and then you show them, you correct it with yourself, and then you also correct it with the child, but not to say put the blame on the child, so to speak. And s- same with people. I think many times people think things are happening to them, people are doing things to them, but in actual fact people are just reflecting to you who you really are. So I think for me, when I encounter things for example in day-to-day life, when you encounter an issue with, let's say, whatever it is that something that bothers you, for example, I like to sit down and just ponder upon it. I think about it and I think like, what could this be teaching me and why is this happening? I don't really bother, like, to really think about, to go in depth about it, but I like to stop and think, okay, I noticed this. What is it showing me? Like, what do I need to change here? That, it's kind of like a nudge as well, because at the end of the day, life is about people. Life is about people.
And it's because you understood and you now know that life is happening for you and not
Mm.
to you. That's a huge difference, you know, because when you think life is happening to you, you're always in the victim mode. Oh,
Yes.
this happens to me, the people cut me off, I crash, I this, I that. Like I know
Yeah.
someone, like for example, someone close to me that every time you speak to this person, like they don't know how to focus on what's going good. You know, like
Mm.
they like to show you what's not going good, and that's living in the victimhood. You know, like
Yeah.
you're in victim mode. When you understand that life is happening for you, and you understand that every little wound or every little thing is a doorway into deeper understanding, that's
Mm-hmm.
when everything changes, because you start becoming that vessel, because we're vessels of life. If we understand that we are literally made from God, because there is no other explanation as to why we're here,
True.
just to experience life,
Earth. Yes.
everything changes.
No, true. And when I think about people, that some people really don't know anything about positivity, and it's so. I think back in the day, it was normal for me as well to not, it was not really quite normal, but you could still sit with it and be like, okay, whatever, that's just part of life. But now for me, it's so different for me now. When somebody wants to, let's say, complain about something, I unfortunately, I don't know if it's unfortunately or fortunately, because I always have to see the good thing in it. And then sometimes, like you said, now people think you're a hippie because you're always seeing the good thing in something. Like, what the hell? Like, are you a hippie? Like, what's wrong with you? This is wrong. I'm like, but then maybe this is here to show us something. You understand? So it's
Everything,
really,
even illnesses, even autoimmune diseases,
yes,
like I've been
depression.
dealing with, for example, gastritis, GERDs,
Mm, mm,
and what's been teaching me is that I don't know how to process anger. I don't know how
mm.
to digest anger. So my body is literally be showing me, you don't know how to digest anger. So I'm going to give you a physical um, aspect for you to add to the thing and say, okay, start digesting anger better. Start
Yeah.
learning how to let it go, how to, you know, get it out.
Yeah, because all those acidic juices, it could be unprocessed anger really, because your body manifests whatever is in your, whatever you are holding in your energy centers, especially. That's why it's very important to it's very important to clear anger, but also how do you do it? It's very important to be able to get into a meditative state. All of those things you can deal with them during your meditative state. When you quiet the body, you quiet your mind, and then you just allow your higher self to come into your, whatever situation you're dealing with. It may be your love situation or disease situation, because I like to think of anything like this. The Bible even says, I and the Father are one, right? But the Father is greater than I. It means all of us of our source, we're all from source. So in order for you to deal with something that, for example, like anger is not necessarily a physical condition, it's an emotional condition. So obviously there's no way you're going to deal with an emotional condition with a chemical solution. So then you need to go inside, and then you need to process all those things. I'm sure you're doing that already, because you're working through it every single day. You understand? So that's just how it is. You just have to keep at it. You don't have to give up yet. But it keeps showing you then, like, the more acidic it is, maybe the more angry you are. So you must calm down a little bit. No,
No,
really, your body can literally show
100%.
you everything. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're not observing yourself and you're not living in the conscious, and the consciousness literally means living in the present. Like, let's not, like people do it like taboo. Oh yeah, consciousness, the hippies, and like, no, it's
Yeah, no,
about
it's not.
living in the present.
Yeah, it's about applying every single day. I don't know why people have made it seem like it's a hippie thing. It's not a hippie thing. It's how life, that's how life works. The thing is, we don't make the universal laws. There's universal laws that, like, for example, the law of gravity. The law of gravity is going to work on everybody, whether you're a hippie or you're not. If you jump off a building, you're gonna fall. It's the same with consciousness. Once you awaken, you've got this vast amount of, I guess, universe open to you. And people think it's woo woo, but it isn't woo woo. But that's how life should be lived, actually, every single day.
I
Yeah.
mean, we are made out of energy, and if we don't want to believe that, then that's on
I
them,
mean, you see, that's why it says, like, somehow you're always manifesting, whether or not you know it. Whether or not you know it. Sometimes I really sit down and I just try to think. You think all those people who are really, like, very conscious, they're living open, excuse me, they're living openly and they're not limited. But a lot of times, other people who don't necessarily believe in energy or consciousness, they're living a different type of life. Yeah, because until you're awake to these things, you cannot live it. You cannot live the life that you actually desire fully until you're awake to consciousness, or
Yeah,
rather,
and
until
awake also means practice what you preach, right? Because I know a lot of people, I've met a lot of people in this journey that know the wisdom. They
yeah,
know, they
they
tell
don't
you the
apply.
wisdom, but they don't practice the wisdom. So one thing is talking the talk, and another thing is walking the walk, right? If you're listening to this podcast, if you're listening to that book that it's about, like self-love and whatever, it's great to know this information, but if you don't apply it and you don't embody it, what difference does it make to know the wisdom if you're not applying it?
No, true. I mean, it's like knowing something. Knowing is not enough. You have to act it, you know? Because a lot of times people just stop at the mental level, but life is lived on three planes. There's mental, yes, knowing, and then there's also the physical where you live every single day. So you need to apply that mental information on your daily life every single day. For example, like I said, I have changed my life completely. I'm so grateful because I really try to recondition my thoughts, and even in my daily living, I try to apply these things. Not even a try, I make sure that I apply. If you're saying you're trying, then you're not sure. I am sure that I'm applying every single day what I know. For example, even things like meditation, that is a practice that you need to start applying. Meditation is very important. It's not just knowing, like, okay, I know I need to meditate, I'll meditate one day. You need to meditate every single day, actually. Just like how you feed your body, you need to feed your spirit as well.
And it's also very important. The other day, I saw a study with the water actually, and it was saying that they had two waters, right? And I did this with my kids actually. I put two apples and one on each side, right? And for one apple, I told them to like discharge themselves. I told them, tell them, screw you, you're ugly, blah blah blah, you know. And to the other apple, I told them to talk super nicely. So you had to. One of my friends told me to do this, and I did it. And you tell her you're beautiful, you're blooming,
I love
the
you.
I love you, you're amazing, you're worth it. And the other one, you're not worth it, you're stupid, whatever. We cut the apples up, and the one that we talk negatively to, it was black on the inside. And the one that we talk nice to, it was perfectly fine. And they did
Wow,
a
that's
study with the
amazing.
water where they put the water, they also did this speaking negatively to the water and speaking positively to the water, and they put it under microscope, and they saw that the water that it was spoken to nasty had like formed like nasty flakes, like a nasty connections, and the one that it was talked to nicely formed like very pretty
Wow, crystals.
water flakes.
Beautiful. I can
And if
believe
you
that.
understand that we're 70% water, right? The way we're speaking to ourselves, the way we think about ourselves, the way we do, that we act, it's affecting the way we live.
True, true. You really have to be conscious and be in the moment. Be careful of what you say as well. Speak positively to yourself, to those around you, to your circumstances. That's just how it starts. It starts with you. It starts with you. Once you decide, I'm going to make this change. I'm going to speak positively to myself now. I'm going to appreciate who I am. I'm going to have this gratitude every single day. Small steps, you don't have to start. You don't have to. And the thing is, people think you have to see a big white light. No, you don't have to. It's a still small voice. You don't have to see a big white light. You just have to decide that I'm going to do this now. I'm going to live consciously, and I'm going to surrender to the source, not the source, to source, basically. And
And
then
at first
that's
it might feel silly, right? When I started at list and I say to myself in the mirror, "Oh, I love you. Oh, you look beautiful." At first I felt silly because you're so used to doing the opposite, that aligning with this higher self, because that's all you do in meditation. For me, in meditation, what I do is I try to connect to my higher self that at the end of the day is all knowing and all powerful, right? So it's basically when you try to, I'm not saying the me, I'm saying that that connects to their higher self can be all knowing and all powerful, right? Because we are literally connecting to the source, correct? So it's understanding that, yeah, if it's, what was I saying? The all powerful, yeah, I was talking about the source.
about connecting to your higher self, yes.
It's connected to your higher self, and it's not faking it until you make it. It's about
Yeah,
aligning your habits and
and being
aligning your actions to become that who you want to be.
that's why it's very, very important to be wise. Because when you're wise, you'll know. Like what you just said now, it's not about faking it till you make it. It's about adopting the habits of the person that you want to become, And obviously, in order for you to understand that, you have to have a certain level of a certain level of awareness, so to speak.
But that's all it takes, awareness,
Yeah.
observation, and digging deep into the intellect and saying, okay, if I'm interested in this topic, I'm going to study it a little bit. I'm going to see maybe a course that offers something like this. I'm going to probably talk to people that are the woo woos and the spiritual hippies,
Yes.
because at the end of the day, there is a huge shift in life that happens when you start being the responsible one instead of the victim.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It changes your perspective completely. You start to see that life is actually happening to you. Not sorry, life is actually happening for you. Excuse me. Life is happening for you, and whatever is happening around you is there to help you. But you only realize once you're aligned. If you're not aligned, you think, "Oh my goodness, life is so hard." And also you have to understand that whatever frequency you're vibrating at, that's what you're going to have. Like you said, it's all about being. It's not about faking it till you make it. If you want to be vibrating on a frequency where you feel like, that's the highest version of you. For example, in the case of weight loss, what's the person that has your weight going to do? Are they going to have the same eating habits? Are they going to have a gym routine? Are they going to, what are they doing to maintain that body? Then you adopt those habits. That's why it's very important to go to the end always. You go to the end of your goal and then you walk backwards, and that's why it's not faking it, because you are being who you would like to be. Yeah.
And the only thing I would add to that is it's rewiring the thoughts, right? Because the body dysmorphia is a huge thing, and for me, I have to take pictures on in front of the mirror to see my progress. Because when I look at myself in the mirror sometimes, or when I used to look at myself in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
I would see the version of me that I was not anymore. But that's the mind playing tricks on you, like
Yeah.
sometimes you see yourself and okay, I went down from an XL to a medium, but then I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I didn't do anything. I still look disgusting. And it's about rewiring those thoughts and saying,
Oh,
no,
yes.
like you're changing and you have to give yourself that grace. And in order to, like we said, in order to know the light, you also have to know the dark. And
True.
in order to have the love, you also must feel the hate, like even if it's towards yourself.
True.
And it's not
True.
about giving yourself whips in the back, for talking to you a certain way. So if you're living right now in a moment where you're whipping yourself for something, like don't blame yourself for that. Give yourself grace, give yourself gratitude, the fact that you now have the awareness to say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is something that needs healing. This is something that needs rewiring. This is something that needs
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, something that you need to work on. Because remember, as you try to change, as you try to change to move away from that person that you were now, you will maybe experience imposter syndrome, like, oh my goodness, is this really me? Can I really be this person with this small body? Can I really be this beautiful person with this? You almost feel like you don't deserve it, because you all your life you've been living in survival mode. You've had to fight for everything. You've never had to feel like, you almost feel like it's not safe for you. And that's why your brain tries to, because remember, your brain is there to protect you by all means. And that's why basically where you grow your awareness to, that's the only experience that you'll have in life. For example, because if you've never really thought of yourself as a person that really is fit and that has the weight that you want, you will never really be able to attain it. You understand? Because it will always seem like a dream away. And for as long as your goal is a dream away, it will always be a dream away. You need to bring it into the now. Like you said, fake it till you make it, but not fake
Yeah.
it, but yeah, you understand.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that's gold, the fact that we have all these possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah, no, endless possibilities. It's really just being conscious. It's all about knowing what to do, not what to do in the physical. Because remember, you have to be that person in the mind first. You have to get your mind right. And then from your mind, it's not about sitting down with the information, it's about applying that information every single day in your life. you know.
Yeah. And one thing
Um,
that changed for me was when I understood why I wanted to lose weight, right? Because we
mm,
always say, "Oh, I want to do it for the looking good," but when you attach your happiness to something, to money, to a weight, to a person, that's fake happy. You cannot place happiness in a point and a period of the universe. You need to understand that you need to be happy
from within.
regardless how much money you have, how much you weigh, how much people have you and love you. You know, like you need to understand that happy, you need to be self happy, because placing my happiness until when I have that type of body, or when I have that car, or when I have that person, that will never, like, last. You can even ask the most billionaire person in the world, like, what does it feel to be the most billionaire? They were probably excited for like the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Now it's like they're normal. So you cannot apply your happiness into something else. And
True.
when you start seeing the end goal, like you said, for me, the reason why I want to lose weight is because I want my body to work the best way possible for the longest time possible, because I want to get to experience everything that life has to offer, right?
Yeah, true.
So
You
when
want to
you
be the
have
best.
a goal bigger than yourself and the way I look, changes everything.
True, true. Then it's easier for you to achieve actually, because now it's not just all about you. It's
It's not
about
that
you.
it's easier, but you'll do whatever it takes, even if it's, like going for, like I did, I did a family constellations of myself, and I was like, I need to get to the root of this. I need
Yeah.
to get to where this started, because if I don't get there, I'm going to be in the yo-yo all my life. I'm going to be
Yeah,
losing a little
trying
bit
to
of weight
find
and
out.
then gaining and losing, like, because I don't get to the root of it.
Yeah. Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
if we can leave 3 life lessons, let's say you are, 120 years from now and you're about to leave this world, you need to leave 3 gems behind. What are these 3 gems of lessons?
Okay, great. That's a very good question. So I think for me, I always like to give timeless information. So I would say the first one is know thyself. Obviously, it starts with knowing yourself, self consciousness, awakening. And then, secondly, be malleable, be able to change your mind. Don't let your nothing is solidified, everything is changeable, right? You can change your life. If you can change your mind, you can change your life. And then the third one, I would say don't take anything personal. Like life is an experience, nothing belongs to you. Whatever comes to you, use it for the reason that it's appearing in your life. Learn from it and let it go and be happy. Yeah, I
I
think
love that.
that's.
I love that. Yeah. Not taking things, I mean, knowing thyself, I think this whole conversation was about the importance, of knowing thyself. The
Mm-hmm.
second one, it's 100% true that when you change the story you're narrating to yourself, you literally change your life completely. And the
True.
third one, taking things personal, is something that we're so used to. The reason, like, why marriages fall apart, why relationships break, why societies end, it's because we take things personal. And the moment that we're able to detach our egos from it and stop taking things as they're happening to me, but they're happening for me, magic happens.
Oh yeah, magic happens. Just change of perspective can change your life forever. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I love you for taking the time and speaking with me right here and
Mm-hmm.
living your wisdom here, because I see you and I know you are embodying the wisdom that you portray to others. So for that, like, that's all we can do. And that's all we can be, like, we can only hold our lighter, like a lighter or like a match up, and whoever is ready to see that, it's gonna see it, and whoever is not, it's not their time.
Yeah, yeah,
And all we can do is that. And, well, we're gonna continue this on Instagram probably, and off Instagram also, because I think me and Josephine have magic together, and we're gonna make big things across the world happen, right?
Yes, 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 indeed. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me on your show, Miriam. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. I know you are super busy, and for me, it means a lot that you took the time to come and share it here with me.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, Miriam. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you find value in this episode, I ask you to send it to one person that might be benefited from this conversation. And that's it. I'll see you in the next episode of Show Me Your Soul.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.